Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Elite Life with Sam. Today we have my beautiful friend inside and out, Miss Paige.
Hello, everyone.
You guys are in for a serious treat today. This is actually the first time we've met physically in person, but I feel like I've known you forever.
I really do feel like I already knew you, especially because we've had an online friendship and relationship going. So it's crazy how the internet brings people together so quickly.
I know, and you kind of I know they say it's everybody's highlight reel, but you're so authentic on your platforms, and so being able to watch you and you go off on the tangents and teaching people about stuff, I just love your energy. So can you take a few minutes and just introduce yourself and explain what you do?
So, my name is Paige. I am a psychic medium. I do astrology. I also am a Reiki master, so I do energy healing. I just was really lost on my journey, which led me to a psychic. And I just literally Googled psychics and found one. And I booked an appointment and I went to the reading, and it was on a Saturday. And what this lady told me was so transformational. I can't even explain what she said to me, but it was a light came on, and I was like, holy shit, I have gifts. This makes sense. What she's saying to me makes a lot of sense. So I went home and I was simmering on it, and then I was okay, I'm gonna go get some tarot cards. And I had known that you were supposed to be gifted them, but I did not care. So I went to a novelty store, and I get in there and they're not accepting card. So I was okay, the universe is testing me. Am I going to, go and find somewhere else? So I was I'm going to go to Books A Million because, they'll accept card. And I get in there, and I really didn't resonate with any of the decks, but I wanted to get one. Mm-hmm. So I picked one out, and it was called the Wild Tarot. And I got home, and I just, kind of sat with this deck, and I was just I don't know how this is going to help me. You know what I mean? I didn't really know what the dots were, so got the cards, started using them, and then the lady, her name's Suzanne Smith in Louisville, Kentucky, she was you should come to my mentor classes. Uh-huh. And it was intuitive development. It was $20. And I think it was a Thursday night. So I was I don't have anything to lose. So I started going to these classes, and within 5 classes, she had asked me to do an event and be a speaker and do readings. She was you were born for this. You were destined to do this. Yeah. This is a part of your life purpose. Deal with it. And so I started doing messages for people, and within 6 months, everything came together. And now it's been almost 7 years, and I'm that's so wild that that's literally what led me here.
Your story is so amazing. I kind of feel you're the rebel psychic medium, because it's you just said, I didn't care. And you don't seem you subscribe to these rules, these made up rules. I will say this, I don't do this. I don't do what you do. And so I very much respect it. However, sometimes I see the community online and I think, is this really true, or is this just kind of they want to keep people out or stay stuck up about it? There seems there are little cliques within your own industry as well.
Oh my gosh. So the spiritual community is full of gatekeepers, which my spirit guides are my best friends. If you all knew how much I talk to myself, y'all would be that bitch is crazy. But spirit's always gatekeeping is what keeps you trapped. It does not matter if you tell them the secret sauce, the Big Mac sauce recipe. Mm-hmm. They can't make the Big Mac like you're going to make it.
Exactly.
So it does not matter if you tell them how to make it. It doesn't matter if you tell them exactly step for step what you're doing. They cannot do it like you. Yeah. And so I've just kind of gotten into the space where my mentor didn't gatekeep with me, and because of that, she's changed my life, and she's put me into this position to connect to people like you, or just people that I normally would not have had any reason to talk to, right? It's open doors because I'm actually able to be myself and be paid for it, which inspires people. It either triggers them or inspires them.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I want to go back to where you started with all of this. So did you always know you had giftings, or was it something that just kind of you thought about it?
So when I was little, like probably like 7 years old, we lived in this house that was built in the 1800s, like in a Civil War town. And my grandfather had lived there for like 60 something years, my great grandfather. And so when we moved into his house, it was probably like 1998.
It's a good year.
I was 6 years old. So around that time, I knew that I had spiritual gifts because I had a lot of like imaginary friends. I would make potions. Like I constantly wanted to make potions, either in the bathtub or out in the yard, constantly making potions. And I was just like really crafty. Like my stepfather at the time did our home because that's what he did for work, was construction. So we like ripped all the walls and everything out of the home, and it was down to like bare bones. And we found like all of these like skeleton keys and wine bottles and journals and like weird stuff, and I wanted to keep it all. Like
those are such spiritual like talismans or charms or those. My grandfather did the same thing, and he would bring home the glass bottles and the keys and stuff. And I just remember as a child being so drawn to those things, feeling like, and I would almost sit and imagine the stories. I could almost see it in my mind's eye, like the people who own these things and what they use them for beforehand.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly like what I was doing as a kid. And so like I feel like when we ripped all the walls out, it like opened up the spirits of this house. You know what I mean? And so I remember things like strategically happening and like me being blamed for them. Like something happened and it couldn't be explained. So like Paige did it, or like I was getting in trouble for things I did not move. I did not touch. Like I did not mess with them. So I knew something was happening, and I believed in spirits and ghosts. There was a lot of like haunted houses in this town. And so I had went, and we would like get on our bikes at like 10 years old and like go to these houses and look in the windows and like go to these graveyards with gravestones from the 1700s and like explore. So I remember one time we took a piece of paper and like a pencil and like tried to like sketch and see what was on these really old tombstones, and some of them were like children, like 2 years old, 6 months old, 5 years old. So I remember feeling super like drawn and connected to things. As far as like knowing that they were quote unquote gifts, I just thought I was weird. And I remember like expressing myself. I like was in like my punk rock like Avril Lavigne phase, and my dad like set me down in 8th grade and was like, this is all fun and games, but if you wear this shit to high school, you're going to get made fun of. So you need to figure something out, because you're starting a whole new school district, and you're an only child. So you need to figure something out. So I like moved into like my Hollister Abercrombie era to try to like suppress my authenticity or like suppress myself.
Yeah.
But no, I had definitely been hearing voices and connecting to things that I did not know what I was connecting to. And I think that what people don't realize is whether you believe in that or not, you're still connecting to spirits. So when you drink and you do drugs and you party, you lower your protective aura. Oh. So when I was young, like, 12, 13, 14, like that's when I started smoking weed and drinking and partying. So I see now where my gifts were really open, but then by my own choices, they started shutting down and kind of like closing off. And I like lost myself, in that. Like I remember looking back at things I've done in the past and thought like that was sustainable. Like I'm going to do this forever, or I'm going to be like this forever. And it's just funny because I see all of that as like character development that like led me here.
Yeah, absolutely. So when do you feel like you re-engaged with it? When you saw the psychic, that's when it kind of kicks back in?
Whenever I was 26, I had a like quote unquote kind of like mental breakdown. And at the time, I wasn't sure of what was happening, but girl, I was hearing the loudest voices that you could hear, like so loud. And it was scary a little bit because it was like, I'm going to go crazy. Like if I tell people this is happening, I will get checked in and never be let out again. So it was like, I went into like a numbing phase, like an extreme numbing phase of like drinking constantly, like constantly. Like I would literally remember getting home from work and drinking all night long. And it's so weird to think of a version of me that was all that she had going on, despite, like, having her own apartment, having her own car, having a decent job, like, having things going for me.
Yeah.
But I know that was, like, a form of numbing it out. So then that numbing wasn't working anymore. Like, it just wasn't working anymore. So I feel like what really opened it up was I did acid for the first time. And I had done mushrooms in the past, but more in, like, a party setting. But I did acid for the first time, and it was, like, a New Year's Eve. I feel like maybe, like, 2017 going into 2018. And 2018 was a super, like, change for me. Like, I don't know what about 2018 lights came on. And then in 2019 is when I saw the psychic. So I feel like there was, like, a year of, like, trying to navigate this without knowing what was happening, feeling really crazy, feeling really just distraught, and just, like, I couldn't get a grip on my reality. Like, I didn't even know what reality was.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. I feel like anyone that I've ever talked to, or the things that I've experienced myself, when you're going into a spiritual awakening, there is a time or a moment or a season where you feel like you're losing it. And it's almost like everything has to break down for you to have your breakthrough.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
That's absolutely. And it's funny you say about the voices, and I don't claim to be psychic or clairvoyant or anything like that, but there's something that I've had since I was a child. I will be in that theta state, like almost where I'm asleep. And listen, I'm a neurotic type person. Everything has to be controlled and planned, and I'm working through that. And so I feel like that state between awake and asleep, you're so susceptible. And I will hear these voices call my name so loud, it wakes me up like that. I will shoot up out of bed like someone's here. And it's happened since I was a child. And I have recently gone through my own spiritual journey of, like, being open to things like that. And so now when I speak back to it, I'm like waiting, and it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen yet where I'm like, who are you? You know?
So that would be clairaudience. Clairvoyance, a lot of people use that term. It is a vision. Everyone has a form of clairvoyance if you can imagine yourself in a future place.
Okay.
Driving a future car, living a future life.
So manifesting.
Clairvoyance is a vision that starts in your third eye, which means it's starting in your psychic sense, but it is dependent on your actions. I can imagine myself in a Lamborghini every single day, but if I don't get up and go to work or, like, do what I need to do, am I going to get a Lamborghini? No. So clairvoyance is a vision, and a lot of people have visions, especially if they can see their life, like, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to get this job and I want to marry this person. That's a sense of clairvoyance because you're imagining your future self in those positions, which is aligning you with those visions. Kind of like when I was younger, I grew up in a trailer park, and I'll just be honest, like, my dream was, like, getting some land and a new trailer, plopping that baby on there and moving on. Like, I couldn't see any further than what I could already be a part of. Yeah. Like, I couldn't see any further. And on the way down here, I was, like, looking on the sides of the road and different stuff. And you see those trailers that have been there since the 80s, you all, and they're falling in and people still live in them. And I just thought to myself, like, it's so crazy that you were willing to settle for, like, the most limiting reality just because that's how you grew up, or just because that's what you were exposed to. And so clairvoyance is a vision. Clairaudience is like you're straight up hearing something.
And you do feel nuts.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
Yeah. And a lot of people think that what they hear in their own inner dialogue is themselves, but it's not. Your own inner dialogue isn't always your own consciousness.
Yeah.
Like, it's other forms of consciousness.
Yeah, that makes sense. And a lot of people will call it intuition, like the inner knowing, but the whole time you're being guided. And you think that can be like your spirit guides and ancestors and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, so your spirit team can come through in your own voice. Because a lot of people, like, if I heard a man's voice constantly speaking to me, I would be like, please tell this man to shut up. So, like, my spirit guides don't communicate with me in a different voice. It's more, I just know what they're saying. Like, I don't necessarily have to hear them as loudly as I did. Like, they were screaming at me before.
Trying to get your attention.
Yeah, like, they really wanted me to know they were there. But now that I am there with them and we're on the same timeline, I just know. I feel like when I sit down and I open a circle to like do a reading, they hand me a book.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're like, this is everything you need to talk to this person about. And, you know, I've sat down in sessions before and people are like, how do you know that? And it's like, I just do. Next question. Like, can we move forward now? You know, like, some people just can't get over the fact that I know what I'm saying right now. So I just feel like I'm very clear cognizant in that I don't need to listen. I just know. But in the past, my main form was like some clairaudience, like very, very loud. But I thought I was just crazy. Like, I just thought, and I do think, this is my opinion, but most people that have been deemed crazy or that are locked away right now weren't able to consciously get a grip on the communication.
Yeah.
Which then led them to entrapment, which has led them to losing their freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom's really big and important to my soul. I will not consent to anything but that.
I love that so much. I love when you say that. I don't consent to that. And I've noticed myself in the past year picking up that statement, and I will literally say it like if I'm scrolling on social media, because like I said, I'm a tad bit neurotic, and I was raised very much by like someone who was mentally ill who feared a lot of things and instilled that in me. And so ever since hearing that from you, I'll scroll, and when I feel just the slightest tinge of fear well up in me, I'm like, I don't consent to that. I don't consent to fear. And it has changed my mental health state so much. So at the very least, what you've done is helped people with their mental health. But I'm telling you, your gift has changed the game. I had a psychic medium that I saw before you pretty religiously, and I am not quite sure what happened. Like, she moved out of state and I was still like seeing her. But it's almost like the vibe changed. I don't know if mine or hers, or maybe we just didn't align like we used to. But I stopped seeing her, and I went through a season of not having that support, and then I found you, and your whole vibe just aligned so much better. And I think that, you know, like you said, your community, there's very much like a gatekeeping that happens, but not everybody is gonna click with everybody. The vibes aren't gonna line up.
Yeah, we had a season, it's almost 2 years ago, where we had some infiltration in the communities with Gemini's community and my community, because we don't gatekeep. Like, if I think Gemini could do it better for you, then I want you to book with her, or vice versa. Like, I do not care. Like, no one can take money out of my pocket but me. You know what I mean? So I don't care if you cancel with me 1 month and work with her, or, you know, that kind of thing. So it's like, at the end of the day, I had basically put a bunch of unhealed people in a room and was like, now play nice. Mommy's going to go over here and work on something else. And these people tried to sabotage the whole community from the inside out.
Oh, no.
And to the point where some of these people, you all, like, one girl drove from Kansas, just had to meet me. Like, wouldn't take no for an answer. Drove from Kansas to Kentucky, far as hell. Then she goes and buys a sports car just like mine and drives it a second time. While she's here, she made a bunch of other meetings with people in the community that, like, live close, but not everyone's my friend. Like, you all are amazing people, but I can't be friends and besties with every single person. And so what she did is she singled out all of the people in my community that were local, that I don't necessarily, like, hang out with all the time, and went and made little day dates with all of them while she was here.
Oh, man.
And then went back to Kansas and was, like, stirring shit up, trying to, like, take me down. And then there was another girl from South Carolina that did the same thing, like, just had to come. And me and her were actually really close, and I let her stay at my house, which never again will anyone stay at my house. You all can sleep in your car for all I care. But, like, the drama of, like, grown 40, 50, 60-year-old women coming into my community and, like, trying to draw a wedge between me and Gemini. So I've really seen where not everyone who's interested in the journey actually wants to do the work to get there. They see what you're doing and they want you to tell them, but then they think that they don't have to do the work. And like I said earlier, I can tell you how to do it, but there's a lot of effort that goes into it. It's not just, you have a gift and you can use it and all these things. Like, there's work. Like, I had to stop drinking. I had to stop being around certain people, stop sleeping with people, stop doing certain activities that were draining my life force, you know? So I don't think people want to put in the work. And what I found from the community space is that there's people that like want you to lead them to the water, but then they're not going to drink it. And then they're going to blame you because the water's not cold, but they weren't going to drink it anyways. You know, it's like, what?
Everybody wants to be spoon-fed, and like you said, you to do the work for them, and when it doesn't work, it's like, oh, this is your fault. Well, you didn't put in the work, and everybody's going to look different. Like, everybody's journey is going to be a little bit different. That's such a good point. And I love that you said you won't let people stay in your house anymore. Girl, I'm so big on who comes to my house. I have worked so hard on creating a space that is not just a place of peace for me, but also my family. So it's like I'm protecting my energy, but I'm also protecting the energy of like my husband and my kids. And I'm dogmatic about it, dude. Like, you can stand at the steps and I'll grab you whatever you need, but unless you pass my vibe check, don't come in my house.
Yeah, I have had issues in the past with people like trying to threaten my safety because they knew where I lived and different things. And I just see the growth of like feeling like I needed people surrounding me all the time. It was almost like I was the life of the party. Kind of like they say, like, the happiest person in the room or the most funny person is normally not happy on the inside. And so I seen where neglecting myself had me hanging around people, doing things at places I normally wouldn't even do, like just to have someone who needed me or just to be with someone or just to have friends. And, you know, I've literally had someone help me move and then set my house up to rob it later. So, you know, that's coming on like a 10-year anniversary of that occurrence. But that, when that happened, if you ever have a home invasion, like, obviously now I have cameras and guns and alarms and I do not care. Like, you come to my house, I will kill you. But back then I was like fearful of that happening or like very attached to the material world. And what that taught me is, A, not everybody can come in your house. B, material stuff doesn't matter, because if you're not safe and you're not healthy and your well-being is not above board, then none of that shit's going to matter to you. Leaving your home and feeling safe that when you come back and return, it's going to be the same is priceless in comparison to being surrounded by people or just having people at your house. So to circumvent all of this, when I bought my first house, I never got a couch. We still don't have one. I've turned my living room into my bedroom. My bedroom is my get ready, like, makeup room. And then I have an office for my spiritual stuff. So you don't even have anywhere to set at my house. Not welcome.
That's what I mean by, like, you're the spiritual rebel. Like, you literally function and do. You're like, why do I have to do it that way? Because Joe Blow says I have to? Whatever. I'm living life by my own rules. I'm so obsessed with your energy. I love it. And you were talking earlier. We're going to bring this kind of into our conversation about the pray energy. Mm-hmm. Girl, I love that.
So I'm going to teach. I'm actually going to make, like, a downloadable course, like a 6-week like self-led course. That's what's in the works, taking a step back from like one-on-one services with just everyone. And I'm going to teach this, but basically women especially are taught to give off a pray vibration. Just like a baby bunny is giving off pray vibration just because they're a baby bunny. Like, they're not doing anything wrong. It's a natural ecosystem. But they've taught women to like adapt to like pray energy. Like, be careful at night. Oh, be careful. Don't park there. Park where it's light. Don't look at your phone. Don't turn on the radio. Don't wear your headphones. Don't go for a walk. Like, whatever it is. And I just feel like that is giving a pray vibration. So now people who seem to be in power or have power, like a wolf and a bunny, is going to see you as prey. Yeah. But if you're showing up in the world as predator, like, I think you should be worried about me in a dark alley. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think you should be worried about what I am doing versus me hunching down and being in fear and shrinking my aura to fit this narrative that I should be worried. Yeah. Like, I just know for sure, no matter where I'm at, it doesn't matter a concert, it doesn't matter if I'm in downtown Nashville, it doesn't matter where I'm at, nothing bad will happen if I'm there. And honestly, everyone around me is benefiting because my force field is so strong that like today a car almost swerved into another car, but I don't need that trauma, so that would never happen in front of me. And that's predator energy. Like I don't need that in my reality, and it won't be in my reality. But I am very aggressive when I drive. Like I'm a very aggressive person. And people don't see that. Like people see me as like kind of like cute and pushover and whatever, but like you really should think twice about crossing me because I know dark magic.
Yeah, and I will fuck you up.
I don't want to like be a dark witch, but I'm also a duality witch. Like I am very much going to give power to my shadow and my feminine rage, just like I'm going to give it to my feminine light. Like I'm not a love and light person. I am a fuck around and find out person.
Yeah.
Like I really don't want drama, but you will not get the last laugh.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because I think that this positive, like the manifesting, mindset, and you've got to always be positive to manifest your best life, and that can also, it's toxic positivity, and you can, like you said, lose a serious important part of yourself, and you have to be in touch with that darker feminine side, that rage, I think that served women for generations so well, but you can't let it overtake you.
Yes, that's exactly right. Like Mother Earth is a really amazing representation of this, and I have a very strong relationship with her where we don't do hell, not near my car, no hell ever. One time I was going to hell and I did this huge blessing prayer, and I promise you it opened up a circle on the map and it just did not hail at my house because I just don't consent to that. But me and her have like a bond where she's told me before, because I get very triggered when they're cutting down trees to build apartments we don't need. I don't care if you like apartments or don't, like we just don't need all of these. If anything, we need sustainable like houses and things that are like actually worth living in. But she's always telling me like, don't worry about that. I will split this motherfucker in half, or I will flip the whole table. That's what she tells me a lot. Like when I'm getting in my feels, because I'm so deeply connected to trees, she's always like, I will flip the table. I want you to understand I'm in control. She's like, all this like paper and money and all these things are cute and fun, but I will split this motherfucker in half. And I like love that vibration because people see women like they have to be soft and feminine and nurturing and all these things, but Mother Earth is a super representation of duality. She is creation, but she is also destruction, and she's the only one in control. So when you look at it, we may think we're in control, like we have all of these little plans and building blueprints and whatever, but like if she wants to open up a sinkhole, boom, sinkhole.
Yes.
Like there's no rules in nature except the cycles of life.
Yeah.
And I like try to connect with that. Like sometimes I'm very giving. Like earlier I couldn't get my credit card out of the gas pump because my nails are too long right now. And so there was like an old man that pulled up, and I was like, hey sir. And like people are preying on old people. People are acting weird at gas stations. So I was like, literally no weird stuff. Hands up. Could you just grab my card out of the machine, please? Thank you. And he looked at me like he was hesitant. You know what I mean? He was hesitant because he's old, very old. And he did it, and I was like, thank you so much, sir. Like, bless you. But it's just crazy that, like, so many people are negative and gross in the world that people can't just live and be happy.
Yeah.
And I feel like the predator-prey vibration is offset. Like, too much prey. Yeah. And then the big predators are just like the government, who is not actually a predator. It's a system that we have consented to. Like, I have shaped my reality differently by thanking the universe for like paying taxes. Every time streetlights come on, I'm like, I own these streetlights. This is my road. These are my streetlights. And sometimes when I pull into a city, all the lights will come on. Like I went to Cincinnati a couple weeks ago, and I swear to God, I came over the bridge from Kentucky to Ohio, and the bridge lights, everything came on. And I was like, because I pay for that. That's mine. I own this. And so like shifting that reality of like, you work for me, pick up that trash, fix this pothole, you work for me. It just seems to like shift from prey, like I have to do this sucks, I'm paying taxes. Like people don't even realize what a business owner pays in taxes. Like people don't even realize what people who actually work their ass off pay in taxes, and we're like complaining over they took $400 out of your check. I'm sorry, shut up. Like I don't want to hear it. But the shift of thank you for this electricity. Thank you for this water. Thank you, Mother Earth, for letting me exist on your land safely, or whatever, has shifted me from fear and prey to like predator or like emperor or, you know, empress or whatever. It's like, 100%. I'm in control of this reality, not you. And I don't consent to anything. Like COVID, never consented, never partaked, never participated in the fear. I only made more money that year. My job was like, we will never make you get that vaccine. Like, you know, there was just so many elements that I know I manifested by believing it to be true.
Yeah. And not that nothing bad is ever going to happen.
Right.
But that's all also perspective, because it's like going from it's happening to me to it's happening for me. Mm-hmm. There is a greater yes on the other side of this perceived emergency or bad, you know, episode that's happening.
Yeah, like I try to shift everything. Like a couple years ago, I got jury duty and I was on the grand jury, which means that we were overseeing like 80 cases a week to decide if they went to trial. If they actually, like, the people that were coming in to present were like detectives and officers. It wasn't the people. Like, we were in a room. It was the grand jury.
Yeah.
Well, different cases were coming by, and one of my best friends was murdered in high school. Like, they were murdered by like someone that we grew up with. You know, it was just over drugs, over girls, whatever. His case, not about the murder, but the murderer got off, and of course he's been in and out of jail, and a case of his came across the screen. And I was like, that's why I'm here. Like, I am seeing in real time what my life could be like had I started or continue to hang out with these type of people that I grew up with, or these type of people and their vibrations. And then I shifted from, I'm a law-abiding citizen. Like, I'm being rewarded by being chosen to come here and do this. But in the beginning, it was like, oh my gosh, jury duty, don't want to do this. It's the middle of winter. It's cold. It's rainy. And of course, I go downtown and curve my rim on my new car the very first day.
As it happens.
But that's because I was sending out that negative energy. But the moment I shifted, then I started seeing the silver lining and started seeing the blessings, and then we started getting off early. They started saying like, oh, you can just pick 3 days this week instead of 5, and like started shifting. And I seen where my vibration was shifting the scenario after realizing that full circle moment. Like, he may have got off for the murder of my friend, but his life sucks.
Yeah.
He lives in poverty. He's in and out of jail. He's trafficking meth out of Myers. Like, let's be real. Like, life's eating him up. So it started making me shift to see where I'm very privileged to partake in these systems and not be condemned by these systems.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I believe completely, like, mindset will keep you stuck or keep you thriving. And that's something that owning a business with my husband and deconstructing from organized religion myself, we're constantly reminding each other, like, have you done your gratitude prayers today? Like, have you given thanks for everything? And I'm telling you, it will shift in the blink of an eye from the shittiest day to I have absolutely nothing to worry about. Like, bills are piling up, phone's not ringing, it's okay. This is just the calm before the storm. Like, your whole perspective changes completely.
And I think that that's where people don't understand that, like, manifesting is not going to work without the law of attraction and the law of assumption and the law of giving and receiving. Because a lot of you all don't realize that you're asking for things and you're making promises to the universe, and then you get those things and you don't fulfill your promises. Mm-hmm. Like, or you want someone to pat you on the back for doing a good deed. Like, there's so many things I do behind the scenes that people don't see, that I don't tell them, that I could care less if they know. Yeah. And that's why I win. Because I don't need validation. Like, I don't need to drive some fancy car to look cool or post it on the internet or do things for attention. And I think that a lot of people don't realize the reason they're not getting what they desire is because you're doing it for other people, you're doing it for attention, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, or your vibration is still giving off greed.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That is such a good point, is that you're given a lot. We're a conduit. We're given blessings to be a blessing, you know, and I think that can be so easily unbalanced, is that people will give too much of themselves or not enough of themselves or of their gifts. And we were talking about that earlier off camera, but it's just like we have to be a free-flowing conduit and not live in a mentality of lack and poverty, But then I feel like we are tested by God or universe or spirit, however you want to say it, is that then those energy vampires come into our orbit and we're tested of, okay, can we create healthy boundaries with these people and recognize what's happening?
Boundaries are so important, but a lot of the boundaries that I think people lack are with themselves. Like committing to their own vision is not an instant gratification setup. Like, I didn't just start reading tarot and then turn around and start charging money for it like I see people online. You know, like, people see something working for other people, and instead of giving their heart to it, they think they're going to, like, make a quick buck or, like, do something and, like, cheat the system or something. I don't know. I just feel like authenticity is the vibration that we're moving into. We have, like, this Neptune Pisces transit happening that's going to last for a long time, and it just really feels like your vibration is what's going to start speaking. It's not your money, your cars, your followers, your clothes, or whatever. Like, it's your vibration. And I think a lot of people are very triggered by a shift in the system because they're benefiting from the system.
Yeah.
And they don't see that because they're benefiting and because they don't got to go get it out of the mud, they're never going to go anywhere. It's going to be a constant loop of just enough, but never what you really want.
Yeah, I agree. That's so valid. I love that you're talking about this today. I don't feel like this is talked about enough.
You know, I think that a lot of people are not authentic at all to their following or their fans or whatever you want to call it because they don't want to say something that, like, pisses someone off or, like, upsets someone. Like, the cancel culture system is so annoying. Like, just, like, I don't know. Like, I found out my favorite lipstick brand was going out of business, so I got onto Reddit. And, of course, I stocked up. I have, like, 100 tubes. I do not care. But I was going to get on there and see why. Like, what was their demise? Yeah. And supposedly Jeffree Star, which I have nothing against him, but he didn't like their line because it was too close to his, because it was, like, retro colors, lime greens, oranges, random stuff that no one else in the industry was making. And he basically blackballed them in the beauty industry. So they've basically spent, like, the last 8 years trying to, like, come back from that.
Damn.
And then now they've completely cut all of their makeup line completely. And their eyeshadows were amazing. Their lipsticks are all that I wear. So it was, like, really weird because in the matter of, like, 3 months, girl, my favorite restaurant, Mitchell's Fish Market, went out of business just abruptly. My favorite smoothie at Smoothie King got discontinued. And my lipstick brand went out of business. And I was like, why are they teaching me detachment right now? Like, why do I have to detach from the things I like? So it's been really strange. Like, I feel like when we're too attached to things, they're removed, and that's not the punishment. It's about the lesson of detachment or surrender, or just the fact that there's a million other lipstick brands out there that I can use. Like, it's not the end of the world, but it was just like one person was against them that had a big following, and it took them 8 years to try to recover from that, and they never did.
Yeah.
So it's just like some people don't realize that it really is just about the right room at the right time, or connecting with someone who's going to put your name into the pot when you're not there. Mm-hmm. You know, kind of like on Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Like, somebody put his name in there and he got drawn. You know, that's life. Like, you're either at the right place in the right time because your energy is aligned, or you're at home crying and pointing fingers and upset with everyone who is doing the work.
Yes, absolutely. That's so valid as well. Like, being in alignment with where you want to be, not necessarily, like, looking around at your current circumstances can be so detrimental. And, like, aligning with where you want to be and who you want to be, visualizing and putting in the work. And, girl, we could talk about this all day.
I think really it's about, like, what do I do every day that gets me nowhere near my goals?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to lie. I didn't eat McDonald's for like 5-7 years, and now all of a sudden I'm on this McDonald's kick. And I had it yesterday, and I'm like, and I can do whatever I want because it's not a daily thing. Like, it's not like I'm sitting here eating it every day. But it's just funny how, like, I'll go in waves where it's like, I'll never eat McDonald's again, or I'll never have bacon again, or for a while I was never going to drink Coke again. But then, like, I'll do it, and then I just feel like, oh my gosh, like, you were so detached from this, and now you're doing it again. But then I have to remind myself, like, I'm not doing drugs. I'm not out. Like, sabotaging my progress because I had McDonald's one day, but
Yeah.
some people don't give themselves grace enough, but then some people are giving themselves too much grace and then pointing the blame around them, blaming their family or their upbringing. And, that's why I love, like, the Bunny and Jelly story is like, yeah, we didn't come from anything. Yeah, we didn't have a house, or, we didn't have the things that we have now, but we got up off our ass, we stopped pointing fingers and did the damn thing.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, their story truly inspires me, because they are people that look like me, like we came from the trailer parks, the losers or whatever. So it's like, it is possible. It can happen for you. But if you sit around and you drink beer every night and you mope about it and you bitch about it, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. There's inspired action. I love that, because it's like, okay, yeah, you've done all the work, the mental work, the spiritual work, whatever, but then you have to take inspired action, and that's such a big key to what you manifest.